Okay, student, we go over multiply complex number. Okay, so when you multiply, you should multiply number with number and then letter with letter. Okay, so the only thing is if you see I multiply with I, it become I square, and you substitute I square for -1. All right, so that is a little formula you have here. Okay, so here we go. So now you multiply 4 times 4i. 4 times 4 is 16, and then you have only I, so 16i. Done. Okay, so I put 16i. Nothing fancy, straightforward. Voila, done. Okay, same thing here. So now you do distribution. Start with -5, multiply with -3. Okay, so -5 times -3. So let's write them slowly here. And that come out at positive 15. Then you multiply -5 with 4i. Okay, so -5 with 4i. So -5 times 4, -5 times 4, that's a -20. Okay, so -20 and then I. So now you can write at 15 subtract 20i. That's it. Done. 15 subtract 20i. Voila. Okay, let's move on to the next level. So now, same thing, you do distribution. Okay, so I do really slowly over here. I take number 6 times -1. 6 times -1. Okay, and then 6 times -2i. 6 times -2i. All right. When you're done with that, you move on to -4i times with -1. Okay, so -4i times with -1. And then -4i times -2i. -4i times -2i. Okay, so let's do it slowly over here. 6 times -1 is -6. 6 times -2i is -12i. Number with number. -4i times -1. -4 times -1 is positive 4. And then the I. Okay. Now, -4 times -2, that's a number 8. I times I, that's an I square. Okay. So now we combine. Let's combine these two together. -12i plus ai, that's a -ai. Okay. And then you got ai squared in the back, but I squared now I substitute by -1. Okay, and now I got -6 subtract ai, a times -1 and -a. So now I combine -a with -6, -a, -6, and -14, and then subtract ai. That is your final answer. Okay. So I put in the box. Itzel, you that computer, please. You the actual computer is right there. Huh? You finish it. Okay. You need to move on to K5, please. Okay. So now, let's do a couple of this and we're done. You have 7i squared. It means 7i times 7i. Okay? 7 times 7, that's a 49. And then I times I, that's a I squared. But when you see I squared, I times I become I squared. But you see I squared, you substitute by -1. Okay? So here we go. Here's your formula. So now I squared, you substitute by -1. 49 times -1 is -49. -49. Done. Voila. Okay, let's do one more and then we're done. So we do the same thing. 4 times negative 7. Let's write down 4 times negative 7. Okay. And then 4 times 5i. 4 times 5i. Okay. And now we move on to 2i times negative 7. 2i times negative 7. Okay. And then 2i times 5i. 2i times 5i. Okay. So now let's write the answer over here. 4 times negative 7, negative 28. 4 times 5, that's a 20. And the I is still there, so put right there. Okay. Now you have 2 times negative 7, that's a negative 14. Negative 14. And then I is still there, so put I down. 2 times 5, that's a 10, and then I times I, that's a I square. Okay? So now combine like term. Negative 28, you cannot combine with anything yet. 20i subtract 14i, that's a 6i. Okay? And then 10i square in the back. But when you see I square, I substitute by negative 1. Okay? So now I have negative 28 plus 6i and subtract 10. So now I combine negative 28 with negative 10. That's a negative 38. And then plus 6i. That is your final answer. Negative 38 plus 6i. Voila. Thank you so much.